Have you ever wondered why you're fascinated by things that seem completely weird to everyone else? Do you find yourself drawn to mysteries, deep conversations, and concepts that make other people's eyes glaze over? Well, if you're nodding along right now, there's a good chance you might be an INFJ personality type. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of INFJs and exploring 8 absolutely fascinating things that capture their attention like nothing else. These aren't your typical hobbies or interests. We're talking about the kind of stuff that makes other people think you're a little different. But hey, that's what makes INFJs so incredibly unique and interesting. So buckle up, because we're about to explore the inner workings of one of the rarest personality types on the planet. And if you recognize yourself in these 8 points, well, you're definitely in good company with some pretty amazing people. 1. The psychology behind human behavior and hidden motivations. Let's start with something that absolutely captivates every INFJ I've ever met: the deep, complex psychology behind why people do what they do. While most folks are content with surface-level explanations, INFJs are like human behavior detectives who can't rest until they've figured out the real story. You know that moment when someone says they're fine, but their body language is screaming the complete opposite? Most people might shrug it off, but an INFJ? They're already 3 steps deep into analyzing the micro-expressions, voice tone, and recent events that might explain what's really going on. This isn't just casual people watching now. INFJs have this almost supernatural ability to read between the lines and pick up on subtle cues that others miss entirely. They're fascinated by the hidden motivations, unconscious patterns, and psychological triggers that drive human behavior. It's like they've got this built-in radar for detecting the stories people aren't telling. What makes this even more interesting is how INFJs approach this fascination. They don't use their insights to manipulate or judge. Instead, they're genuinely trying to understand and connect with people on a deeper level. They want to know what makes you tick, what your fears are, what drives your passion, and what experiences shaped who you are today. This deep interest in psychology often leads INFJs to careers in counseling, therapy, social work, or any field where they can use their natural ability to understand and help others. But even if they don't pursue it professionally, you'll find them constantly analyzing character motivations in movies, trying to understand why their friends make certain choices, or diving deep into personality psychology just for fun. 2. Ancient civilizations and lost knowledge. Here's where things get really interesting. INFJs have this incredible fascination with ancient civilizations and the knowledge that's been lost to time. We're not talking about casual interest in history class stuff. No, INFJs are the ones staying up until 3 a.m. researching the mysteries of Atlantis, the construction techniques of the pyramids, or the advanced mathematics of ancient Greece. There's something about lost civilizations that speaks to the INFJ soul. Maybe it's the mystery aspect, or perhaps it's the idea that there were people thousands of years ago who possessed wisdom and knowledge that we've somehow forgotten. INFJs are drawn to the gaps in our historical understanding, those tantalizing hints that suggest ancient peoples knew things we're only just beginning to rediscover. You'll find INFJs absolutely mesmerized by topics like the Antikythera mechanism, the advanced engineering of Roman concrete, the sophisticated astronomy of the Maya, or the mysterious disappearance of entire civilizations. They're not content with simple explanations. They want to understand how these ancient peoples thought, what they believed, and what secrets might still be hidden in their ruins. This interest often extends to ancient wisdom traditions, philosophical texts, and spiritual practices that have been passed down through generations. INFJs are fascinated by the idea that there might be profound truths hidden in ancient texts or practices that could offer insights into modern life. What's really cool is how this interest connects to the INFJ's natural pattern-seeking abilities. They're constantly looking for connections between ancient knowledge and modern discoveries, trying to piece together the bigger picture of human development and understanding. 3. The deeper meaning behind dreams and symbolism. If you've ever spent hours analyzing a weird dream or found yourself completely captivated by the symbolism in a piece of art, you might just be an INFJ. These folks are absolutely fascinated by the hidden meanings and symbolic language that exists beneath the surface of our conscious experience. Dreams, in particular, hold a special place in the INFJ heart. While most people might dismiss dreams as random brain activity, INFJs see them as windows into the unconscious mind. They're the ones keeping dream journals, looking up symbol meanings, and trying to decode the messages their subconscious is sending them. But it's not just dreams. INFJs are drawn to symbolism everywhere. They see deeper meaning in recurring numbers, find significance in animal encounters, and can spend hours discussing the symbolic elements in their favorite books or movies. They're naturally attuned to the metaphorical language that exists all around us. This fascination with symbolism connects to the INFJ's intuitive nature and their ability to see patterns and connections that others might miss. They understand that sometimes the most important truths can't be communicated directly. They have to be expressed through symbols, metaphors, and images that speak to something deeper than rational thought. You'll often find INFJs drawn to fields like literature analysis, art interpretation, or mythology studies. They're the ones who can explain why certain symbols appear across different cultures, or who can help you understand what your recurring dream about flying might really mean. 4. Complex philosophical questions about existence and reality. Now we're getting into some really deep territory, the kind of philosophical questions that can keep you awake at night and make your brain hurt in the best possible way. INFJs are absolutely captivated by the big questions about existence, reality, consciousness, and the nature of being itself. While most people are content to go about their daily lives without questioning the fundamental nature of reality, INFJs can't help but dig deeper. They want to know, what is consciousness? Is free will real? What happens after we die? Are we living in a simulation? What's the meaning of life? These aren't just casual shower thoughts for INFJs. These are the questions that drive their deepest intellectual curiosity. You'll find INFJs diving deep into philosophical texts, spending hours discussing existential questions with friends, or lying awake at night contemplating the infinite nature of the universe. They're drawn to philosophers like Carl Jung, Soren Kierkegaard, or Alan Watts, thinkers who explored the deeper mysteries of human existence. What makes this particularly interesting is how INFJs approach these questions. They're not content with simple answers or dogmatic beliefs. Instead, they want to explore all possibilities, consider different perspectives, and come to their own understanding through careful thought and reflection. This philosophical bent often influences every aspect of an INFJ's life. They're constantly looking for deeper meaning in their experiences, trying to understand their place in the grand scheme of things, and searching for ways to align their lives with their deepest values and beliefs. 5. The hidden connections between seemingly unrelated things. Here's something that really sets INFJs apart: their almost magical ability to spot connections and patterns that other people completely miss. It's like they have this built-in radar for detecting the invisible threads that link seemingly unrelated events, ideas, or phenomena. This isn't just about being good at trivia or having a good memory. INFJs see connections on a much deeper level. They might notice how a conversation with a friend connects to a book they read last month, which relates to a dream they had, which somehow ties into a current world event. To most people, these would seem like completely random, unrelated things. But to an INFJ, they're all part of a larger pattern or message. This pattern recognition ability extends to all areas of life. INFJs might see connections between historical events and current trends, between different fields of study, or between personal experiences and universal truths. They're constantly weaving together information from different sources to create a more complete understanding of how the world works. What's really fascinating is how this ability influences their learning style. INFJs rarely learn things in isolation. They're always looking for ways to connect new information to things they already know, creating these rich, interconnected webs of knowledge and understanding. This talent for seeing connections also makes INFJs excellent problem solvers and creative thinkers. They can often come up with solutions or ideas that seem to come out of nowhere, but are actually based on their ability to connect seemingly unrelated pieces of information in novel ways. 6. Metaphysical and spiritual concepts beyond mainstream religion. INFJs have this incredible fascination with spiritual and metaphysical concepts that go way beyond traditional religious teachings. They're drawn to the mysteries of consciousness, energy, and the interconnectedness of all things in ways that can seem pretty unconventional to others. You'll often find INFJs exploring topics like astral projection, energy healing, meditation techniques, chakras, auras, or various forms of divination. But here's the thing, they're not approaching these topics with blind faith or superstition. Instead, they're genuinely curious about the experiences and phenomena that mainstream science hasn't fully explained yet. Many INFJs report having had personal experiences that can't easily be explained by conventional understanding. Moments of intuition that proved accurate, experiences of synchronicity, or feelings of connection to something larger than themselves. These experiences naturally lead them to explore spiritual and metaphysical frameworks that might help them understand what they've experienced. What's interesting is how INFJs approach spirituality. They're often drawn to more individualized, experiential forms of spiritual practice rather than organized religion. They want to discover truth for themselves rather than simply accepting what they're told to believe. This spiritual curiosity often leads INFJs to study various wisdom traditions from around the world, comparing different approaches to understanding consciousness and reality. They might be drawn to Buddhist meditation, shamanic practices, mystical Christianity, or modern New Age concepts, always looking for the common threads that might point to deeper truths. 7. The psychology of social systems and group dynamics. While INFJs are often seen as introverts who prefer small groups or one-on-one interactions, they're actually deeply fascinated by how social systems work on a larger scale. They have this incredible ability to see and understand the complex dynamics that exist within groups, organizations, and even entire societies. INFJs are naturally attuned to power structures, unspoken rules, and the subtle ways that groups influence individual behavior. They can walk into a room and quickly pick up on the social hierarchy, the alliances and conflicts, and the underlying tensions that might not be obvious to others. This interest extends to understanding how societies function, how cultural norms develop, and how social movements gain momentum. INFJs are often drawn to sociology, anthropology, or political science because they want to understand the bigger picture of how human societies organize themselves. What makes this particularly interesting is how INFJs use this understanding. They're often the ones who can see potential problems in group dynamics before they become obvious to others. They might notice when a team is developing unhealthy communication patterns, or when an organization's culture is creating problems that leadership hasn't recognized yet. This ability to understand social systems also makes INFJs natural advocates for positive change. They can see how current systems might be failing certain groups of people, and they're often motivated to work toward creating more just and equitable social structures. 8. Future possibilities and alternative timelines. Last but definitely not least, INFJs have this fascinating preoccupation with future possibilities and alternative timelines. They're constantly thinking about what-if scenarios, imagining how different choices might lead to different outcomes, and exploring the infinite branching paths that reality might take. This isn't just daydreaming or wishful thinking. INFJs have a genuine fascination with the concept of probability and possibility. They might spend hours thinking about how their lives might be different if they'd made different choices, or imagining how world events might unfold under different circumstances. You'll often find INFJs drawn to science fiction, speculative fiction, or futurism because these genres explore the kinds of what-if questions that captivate their imagination. They love stories that explore alternative histories, parallel universes, or potential futures because these concepts resonate with their natural way of thinking. This interest in possibilities also influences how INFJs approach decision-making in their own lives. They're often paralyzed by choices because they can see so many different potential outcomes. They understand that every decision creates ripple effects that extend far into the future, and they want to make choices that will lead to the best possible outcomes. INFJs also have this interesting ability to sense potential in people and situations that others might overlook. They can often see what someone might become or what a situation might develop into, even when current circumstances don't obviously point in that direction. Why these interests make INFJs special? Now, you might be wondering why INFJs are drawn to these particular types of interests. What is it about the INFJ personality that creates this fascination with the mysterious, the complex, and the deeply meaningful? The answer lies in the unique way INFJs process information and experience the world. As introverted intuitives, they're naturally drawn to abstract concepts and hidden meanings. They're not satisfied with surface-level explanations. They want to understand the deeper patterns and principles that govern reality. INFJs also have this incredible empathy and desire to understand others, which draws them to psychology and human behavior. They want to help people, and they understand that true help requires deep understanding of what motivates and drives human actions. Their intuitive nature makes them naturally attuned to symbols, patterns, and connections that others might miss. They see the world as an interconnected web of meaning and significance, rather than just a collection of random events and objects. The challenges of being fascinated by the unusual. Of course, having these kinds of interests can sometimes make INFJs feel like outsiders. When everyone else is talking about sports, weather, or celebrity gossip, INFJs might be thinking about consciousness, ancient mysteries, or the meaning of a recurring dream they've been having. This can lead to feelings of isolation or the sense that they're somehow weird or different. INFJs often struggle to find people who share their depth of interest in these topics, which can make them feel lonely or misunderstood. There's also the challenge of being taken seriously when you're interested in topics that mainstream culture might dismiss as fringe or weird. INFJs often have to navigate the balance between exploring their genuine interests and fitting into social expectations. Find your tribe. If you're an INFJ reading this and recognizing yourself in these descriptions, take heart. You're definitely not alone. There are others out there who share your fascination with the deep, the mysterious, and the meaningful. The key is finding your tribe, those people who appreciate and share your unique perspective on the world. Online communities, specialized forums, book clubs, and study groups can be great places to connect with like-minded individuals. Don't be afraid to share your interests and insights. You might be surprised by how many people are hungry for the kind of deep, meaningful conversations that INFJs naturally gravitate toward. Embracing your unique perspective. The most important thing to remember is that your interests and fascinations aren't abnormal. They're just different. In a world that often values quick answers and surface-level thinking, INFJs bring something valuable and necessary: depth, insight, and a willingness to explore the mysteries that others might overlook. Your fascination with psychology helps you understand and connect with others in meaningful ways. Your interest in ancient wisdom might help preserve important knowledge for future generations. Your exploration of philosophical questions contributes to humanity's ongoing search for meaning and understanding. These interests aren't weird quirks to be ashamed of. They're gifts that make you uniquely valuable and important. The world needs people who are willing to dive deep, ask difficult questions, and explore the mysteries that others might ignore. How these interests shape INFJ lives. Understanding these unique interests can help explain many aspects of INFJ behavior and life choices. INFJs often choose careers that allow them to explore these interests professionally, becoming therapists, researchers, writers, teachers, or counselors. Even when their careers don't directly relate to these interests, INFJs often find ways to incorporate them into their personal lives. They might write in their spare time, lead study groups, mentor others, or simply use their insights to be better friends, partners, and family members. These interests also influence how INFJs approach relationships. They're looking for connections that go beyond small talk and surface-level interaction. They want partners and friends who can engage with big ideas, explore deep questions, and appreciate the mysterious and meaningful aspects of life. The gift of deep thinking. In our fast-paced, information-overloaded world, the INFJ's ability to slow down and think deeply about important questions is more valuable than ever. While others might be content with quick answers and simple explanations, INFJs insist on digging deeper and asking harder questions. This deep thinking ability allows INFJs to see problems and solutions that others might miss. They can often predict potential issues before they become obvious, suggest creative solutions to complex problems, and help others gain new perspectives on challenging situations. The world needs people who are willing to be the philosophers, the mystics, the deep thinkers who keep asking, but why? And what if? These questions might not always have easy answers, but they're essential for human growth and understanding. Conclusion. So there you have it. 8 fascinating things that capture the INFJ imagination and set them apart from other personality types. From their deep fascination with human psychology and ancient mysteries to their exploration of philosophical questions and spiritual concepts, INFJs bring a unique and valuable perspective to our world. If you recognize yourself in these descriptions, remember that your interests aren't strange or abnormal. They're part of what makes you special. Your willingness to explore the deep, the mysterious, and the meaningful contributes something important to the world around you. Don't let anyone make you feel weird for being fascinated by things that others might overlook. Your depth of thinking, your pattern recognition abilities, and your quest for meaning and understanding are gifts that the world desperately needs. Keep asking the big questions, keep exploring the mysteries, and keep diving deep into the topics that fascinate you. You never know what insights you might discover or how your unique perspective might help others see the world in new and meaningful ways. The world is full of surface-level thinkers and quick answer seekers. But it's the INFJs, the deep divers, the pattern seekers, the meaning makers, who help us all understand what it really means to be human in this mysterious and wonderful universe. So embrace your unique interests, find your tribe of fellow deep thinkers, and never apologize for being fascinated by the extraordinary mysteries that make life so incredibly rich and meaningful. The world is a more interesting place because of people like you.